heard of the book Think and Grow Rich? That's unusual. Okay, a few. Please get a copy, please read it. Okay? It's said by the Fortune 500s and people like, I can't speak to him, Steve Jobs, that this book is the most influential book on the subject of getting rich that's ever been written or read. The book sells 50 million copies a year. And no ad is run for it. Why?
Word of mouth.
Yes, but not the answer I'm looking for, not the real answer. Have you been around too long? You shouldn't rob these people of their experience. Okay? It's the story. Because stories tell and facts tell, stories sell. So I tell in stories and parables because they buy the story. So, I haven't got online, so I'm going to move a bit more quickly than normal. You turn it on, it really works well. There was a difference between Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone. Now, I don't want to take anything away from Hill or his legacy. It's a fantastic book, and you should all read it, and it is enormously influential. And the secret within the pages that he talks about is called Dominant Thought Principle. Sorry? No, it's a book called Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill. Okay. Here's the story. On a dark and stormy night in 1917, a struggling journalist got an interview with the world's richest man at the time. Arguably the world's richest man. Someone said he's the second richest. Who gives up? So, bloody rich guy. What he didn't know, what Hill didn't know during that interview, was that Carnegie had a desire to have a book written, an encyclopedia, on the subject of wealth written. Carnegie is responsible for libraries. That's why we have them. A wonderful man. He issued Hill a challenge, the struggling journalist. He had 2 minutes to make up his mind. If you would write a book on the subject of the commonalities of a bunch of people I will introduce you to, the world's richest men of the time, and most successful people of the time. And I would ask you to write an encyclopedia on that subject, and I'll get you interviews with them. I'll pay you nothing. Will you take the challenge? History would show that Hill took the challenge. And that was 1917. And in 1937, having worked for nothing for 20 years, the book was published, called Think and Grow Rich. He made his living by being an emotional direct response marketer. He was a journalist. He really made his money by being an emotional direct response marketer for 20 years while he wrote the book. The reason so many copies of that book are sold every year to this day is because of that story. Without that story, it wouldn't sell a book. And books are sales letters. And I don't care, I want you to have one, and I don't care if you never sell a copy or no one ever buys one. It will position you as the authority in your industry. Who's in the real estate game in the room? You are considered in the lowest 5% of the planet to be trusted.
I thought it was Paul.
Below you know who?
Sex workers.
Sex workers. True. Yet if you have a book on the subject of how to buy, sell, and business of real estate quickly and easily at top dollar.
Can I climb on top of the sex workers?
Sorry, say again?
Can I then climb on top of the sex workers?
Mate, you'll leap to the top of the lot. If you have a book on the subject of what you do, or how you help it, with an appropriate title, you are catapulted to the top 5% of the planet. Why? Because that's what you do. Someone has a book, you believe them. Okay, that's what the masses do. So do I advocate writing books? And what are they? Sales letters. Correct. Sales letters. So, Hill, the author of the most successful book on the subject of being rich, had his own financial struggles. He wrote the Bible on prosperity, yet he died fundamentally broke. Rescued in life by W. Clement Stone. Employed as a sales trainer in his organisation. When Stone got him, he was fundamentally broke at that time. Stone made Hill economically whole. Hill was very, very rich along the way. He was high income, underinvested. That means he made a lot of money and he didn't buy depreciating assets. Who's done that? And spent the money. Essentially, Hill had a lot of things and toys and stuff. That's my understanding of it. In the Depression, Stone built one of the largest insurance companies in the middle of the Depression. Stone used and was inspired by Hill's work. So why is it that the author of the Bible on prosperity ends up broke at times, and Clement Stone, who used his teachings and training, ends up very, very rich? One reason is Hill had a philosophy built largely on observation, research and study, and that's your university. I call it whacking and cracking school. An MBA at Harvard will cost you $250,000. It'll take you 5 years, and they won't teach you a thing about how to get a client and make a profit. And there's a good reason for that. They don't know it. That's number one. And number two is they have a bias against it. Like, just because you leave university and put your shingle on the door, the money should be the part. Good luck. It ain't going to happen. Not in your life or mine. So you'll do 5 years and you'll pay $150,000 in this country, maybe $100,000, and you'll emerge very smart. No one will understand a bloody word you say, and you'll be qualified to earn $65,000 to $75,000 a year in a job, which is just over broke. True or true?
True. Because
It's based on observation, research and study, not the real world. Everything you hear from us is what? Us doing it, spending our money now. So observation, research and study and Hill's work is very valid. And so is MBA and PhD. But flawed. Valid but flawed. So you need to combine observation, research and study with what? The real world. The real world. Not some insulated world. And that's what you get from us. Real world. So, lesson another clue. Stone applied a philosophy in a market and an environment where it had a chance of success, and most of you never do. A massive chance of success, which is in my world, vehicle. Vehicle. So who is having the thought that they're in the wrong vehicle? Yeah. So when should you get out of it?
Yesterday.
Yes. I would advocate yes. I'd still advocate selling it for a big payday. Although real estate's hard, it's got to be the property thing, okay? But who's in the road-based business? 1 million? Yeah. Okay. Is that yourself, was it? Yeah. Right. Point being, by adding marketing, we can get you more for it. All right? There's someone over here. Is it you, Brett? We can help you get more for your business if you come to sell it. And then if we create the marketing system, you've got people who would buy the marketing system off you. That is, other people in your industry that will want your success more than you do when you license it to them. That makes sense to you now? Yeah. Okay? So, the big clue is philosophy's fine, but it's got to be an environment where it has a chance of massive success. And most people get it wrong right there. In other words, they choose the wrong vehicle. Do you understand where I'm coming from? And there's a classic story, an example. And again, not wishing to take anything away. And please get the book, read the book, it's fantastic. But like MBAs and PhDs, slightly flawed. Because the author himself struggled financially for his whole life. Off and on. Had money, lost money. Had money, lost money. There's a practical lesson there. I just shared it with you. It's a question of manipulating the speed. For most, there's too much focus on the thinking. Well, stay with me, folks. I'm reading my PowerPoint. The title of Hill's book is confusing, I think. It should at least read, Think to Grow Rich, or, better still, How to Think and Grow Rich. How to Think and Grow Rich. Think and grow rich for as long as you want, and you'll starve to death. True or true? True. So, I'm not that guy. I use an example here of the door-to-door salesman and the insurance guys who get all excited in the morning, and when you meet up with them in the afternoon, it's a different story. No amount of excitement will make up for practical reasons for the success. In other words, a marketing system used in an environment where it had a practical chance of working. That was the mistake. Where did all the positivity go? Well, it disappeared because it was flawed in the first place. Why? They had positive expectancy with no justification. They were going out to sell pots and pans or insurance, getting all revved up, positive expectancy, and how were they at the end of the night when they came home? Flawed. Because the model was flawed. It needed lead generation. It needed for you to arrive not as a pest on someone's door, good luck, but to be seen as a guest through education. To be a consultant and consultative. So that's a very important line. Positive expectancy with justification. Justification comes from the system, the marketing, the product, and the who. Who you sell to. One, they've got to have money. Positive expectancy, smile on your face is important, but you're going to need more than that, my friends. Much more than that. Particularly today. When? Today. Best attitude in the world is no better than the worst attitude in the world if you don't have someone with money to sell it to. Very important. Trying to sell to broke people. Not going to help you much. Big secret? Figure out through lead generation how to get in front of the right crowd. Through lead generation. All will be revealed. Stay with me, I promise. You get your attitude from the guy with the money. When you're selling to people who need the value you deliver and can pay for it, does that change your attitude? Yeah. It's like a done deal. What's it like when you rock up to a referral? Do you get to negotiate on price? No. You do the business on your terms. Well, my model allows you to be seen as a referral to everybody. Who thinks that's fantastic? Yeah. And that's who you should be. The worst, it works in reverse. In other words, reason first, positive expectancy second. They were always going to get slammed when they went out to sell because the model was flawed. Okay? Now, we want to create extraordinary systems that make ordinary people extraordinary and ordinary results extraordinary. Because we may find one of you who is extraordinary. We will never find 10 of you. We will never find 100 of you. So what we must create are marketing systems and sales systems that make ordinary people extraordinary. Who thinks that's a great idea? Yeah. It's one of the big flaws out there. Virtually in every company we care to look at. You've got to know how to put yourself in front of people with money, then ask for it, trading something of fantastic value. Generally, your value is good. It's when you fall apart on the first bit. Most people who buy the personal growth stuff finish up disappointed because they focus too much on the thinking. I know what I'll do. I'll set the goals. Yep, I want a Ferrari here in the driveway. Where's my Ferrari? It's flawed. I'm not against goals for one moment, but I want positive expectancy. Valid. In other words, getting rich is mechanical. It's none of the other stuff. It's a mechanical process. The stuff that stops you from being rich is your bullshit. And the bullshit you've been told. In other words, you've been set up for failure. We all have. That's how we're taught to do it. Go to school, work hard, get an education, and we'll look after you, right? And you'll be fine, right? Invest in your superannuation, you'll be fine, right? I don't think so. You've been set up for failure. Attract, don't pursue. Be the hunter, not the hunted. They don't want to be sold. Live your passion and the money will flow. Well, I'm sure you've heard this quote. Figure out what you love to do, that you would do for free, and then do that in your business, and you will get, as your business, and you'll get rich. The book, fulfill your passion, the money will flow. My passion is to lie on the beach looking at naked young ladies. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. No one wants to pay me. No one wants to pay me. So, it's flawed. It needs to have a practical reason for the expectancy of success. Who thinks I'm passionate about this? Yeah, absolutely. Love it. Love helping entrepreneurs, living the dream, if you like. I get to do what I love and make a lot of money in the process. It's what I call blurring the line. Okay, in my world, I'd love you to blur the line. I'd love you to do something you love, and I'd love you to get rich doing it. But sometimes, to get rich, you might have to do something that you do for the money. And then you jump out of aeroplanes afterwards, if that's what makes you passionate. That's what you love. So it may not be possible to monetize the thing that you're passionate about in the fashion you wish you could. Does that make sense? But it's valid. I'd rather you do both. Passion will not necessarily create wealth. I'd love you to have both. I'd love you to blur the line. Business must be market-driven, not personal joy-driven, because money doesn't care that you love it, what you're doing. It must be market-driven, not personal joy-driven. Okay? Get your thrill somewhere else. What would I do that I enjoy so much that I do for free? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay? Pride and satisfaction and enjoyable ways to make a living, yes, but not for free. But not for free. Should be an exchange of value. Thanks, Chris. Mark Twain said, and he's right, anybody that writes but for money is a blockhead. Anyone that is in business but for profit is a blockhead. And it's unsustainable. I don't care how much the world needs you. You'll be unsustainable ultimately, unless you've got very, very, very deep pockets. Okay? He said about a couple other good things as well. On the other hand, if you're pursuing it just for the money, you probably won't be very successful either. So I want to what? Blur the line. Blur the line. Hill versus Stone. He will never devise a system for turning his philosophy into money. That's the point. The wealthiest people operate with a system. Marketing and sales. Stone's book, this is a great book if you want to read it. It's called The Success System That Never Failed. The Success System That Never Failed. And he did it in a recession, depression. The difference between Hill and Stone, here it is. Stone used a system for creating wealth in an environment where it had a reasonable chance of success. So a philosophy and a system. In an environment, that's vehicle, that's the who, had a reasonable chance of success. And most people get it wrong right there. And they wonder what the hell happened. So I need to talk about strategy versus tactic. Most people, we'll do it this way. Tactical approach is to work harder. In other words, you need some money, you write an ad that's tactical, and you need to, the newspaper rings you up and says, "Have we got a deal for you?" Who's had that happen to themselves? Is it a deal if you don't know what to write, or if your crowd doesn't turn up in the paper? Who's been a victim of that? Called advertising victim. Yeah. You are tactical. You are responding tactically daily to everything. It's not how you should be running your business. So my daughter has a pizza bar, and remember context and content? Okay, so strategy is context. Tactic is content. So what tactics do you perform in your business in order to achieve the outcome you want? So strategic is to work smarter. So you've got to be strategic about your business, not just tactical. However, it's a very rare commodity. A good place to start is the definition of a client. So the most powerful strategic objective you can have is definition of a client. Someone who buys your products or services. Definition of a client, someone who depends upon the protection of another. This is the definition if you go searching for the definition. Here's the point. That was definition of a customer. Someone that buys your products or services, or goods or services. A client, someone that depends upon the protection of another. Who do you think you should be trying to sell to? And who do you think you should be? You should be this person here, to your clients, not to customers. Customers just buy once. Clients buy and stay forever, and they're under your care and protection. Can you get the distinction from me? You've got to view your clients and prospects from this perspective as an educator. Care and protection. First strategy, objective, is you have clients, not customers. Killer strategic objective, protect, care, guide your clients as a lawyer or accountant would. So what you need to do is you need to diagnose and prescribe solutions. That's all you ever do. Diagnose and prescribe solutions. It's like a medical term, isn't it? Diagnose and prescribe. Who would you trust more? Someone that sells to you or someone that diagnoses and prescribes solutions? Sorry? Yeah. Yes. So I'm leading you somewhere, guys. Take on the job of making your clients more successful in and around your product or service area. Take on the job of making them more successful. Guess what will happen to you? You'll be enormously more successful. Bit heavy for late at night, but we're going to do it anyway, guys. Who's with me? Thank you. The strategic approach is all about working smarter, not harder. Jace really thought that was funny. There are three types of business owners. Tactical. React to situations tactically, that represents 90% of business owners. Oh, I've got to make a sale. We need clients. Oh, I need to do something now. That's tactical. React. Strategic. Big thinker, but not interested in the detail. Who's the tactical guys in the room? Most of you. Who's the strategic guys? But you're crap at implementation. True or true? Yeah. This one's really rare. Both. That's who I want you to become. It's a choice and behaviour issue. Choice and behaviour. No accidents. We've got Simon with us to help you with implementation. Tactically, you're getting all the knowledge you'll ever need for the rest of your life, I think, in 2 days. Okay? It's what you do with it after you leave here. So this is a very, very rare commodity. I'll show you. We're going to make you into the very, very rare business owner that has both tactic and strategy. Understanding strategy versus tactic. Here it is. Example. Here's how adding one strategic objective could increase sales by 500%. Store one, tactical. Salespeople selling beds. Sales are made. Sales are increased by raising prices or improving tactical efforts. And sales drive the strategy. Sales drive the strategy. Store two is strategic. Salespeople sell beds, but they all are also constantly trained to sell the store. That the store is the best, most respected store, for example. So, who's in retail in the room? I spoke to someone earlier on. Okay, what's your retail business? Pardon? A lighting shop. What do you say when people come in the shop? Somebody tell me.
We try to be the best they can for
Right. When I walk in your store, I'm walking around your shop, what are you going to say to me?
We normally train my staff to walk up, introduce themselves, and what room the house is
Who's convinced? You need to have this in the can. Okay, if you don't know it and you couldn't articulate it, you think your staff know it. This is safe here, to be honest. No, they don't. You had a 30-second sound bite where you could have whacked me between the eyes and I would have loved you to be right. That doesn't matter. It's not about being right. It's about obvious opportunity. I'm going to show you how to dramatically increase your sales now in your business. Who's up for that? Here we go. Have you been in the store? If you say it before, if you say those words, your minimum increase is 16 to 32%. Because then it leads us into the story. First time in the store is a ripper. Watch. Over time, this store developed a large loyal following and an excellent reputation in the community. This is done on purpose, and strategy drives sales. Sales drives strategy. Strategy drives sales. Can you see the distinction? Watch. Here's what a bed store could say. To what? First time in the store. First time in the store. Have you been here before? First time in the store. Did you know that we were founded by I made this up. Okay. Did you know that we were founded by two brothers 20 years ago? We have 8 stores, buy in bulk, and have better prices. We know the exact construction of every bed. Why it's made the way it is. If the beds break in the future, we fix it for free. And by the way, did you know we have free delivery? What happens when you walk in most bed stores? Can I help you? Does it point out, does strategy drive the sale? No, it does not. And as a consequence, what do we say? No, just looking. Just looking. So, Speed Wealth law number 1 is about choosing to own an extraordinary business that has a high probability of success. So we've done law number 1. We're doing well, aren't we? Speed Wealth law number 2 is choose carefully, timing is everything. Let's get going. We want to be in a racing car, not a jalopy. The business success formula. There it is. It's right vehicles, 80% of your success, at least. Followed by right person, that's you being the right you. I can't make you the right you. All I can do is provide an environment where you have an awareness. In 2 days, all you'll get is an awareness that there's a better model. That's all you can ask for. The rest is you being the right person at the right time with the right information. Mostly it comes from liability and challenge. Mostly you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for liability and challenge. Every single one of those multi-millionaires and millionaires came to me because of a challenge. Who's having a challenge? Celebrate it. Doesn't feel like it, I know, but behind all challenges are the best opportunities and the greatest opportunities you'll ever be confronted with. Because we're solution orientated. You don't like being in pain, so you seek a solution. And it most probably brought you here. I also know that you don't want to be here. You'd much rather be somewhere else right now. The reason you're here is for the result of being here. Am I right or right? Correct. You came for the result. That's the bad news, or the good news. If you want the bad news, your clients are identical to you. They don't want what you have, they want the result of what you have. Do you get that? It's a completely different type of thinking. You're selling the result. It's called forward pacing in the marketing copywriting world. We are living in a 2-income couple, baby boomer, early retiree driven society. That's what we're living in. So there's an argument, given that this group of people had more money than any other group, particularly the baby boomer, born 1945 to 1965. There's the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of mankind happening right now. The baby boomer is inheriting their parents' wealth. It's the largest transfer of wealth in history. Sorry? Yeah, but en masse it's wealth. You see, over time, they've bought a house and they've paid it off. And it's falling into the hands of the baby boomer as their parents die. And we're buying Winnebagos. And we're selling the house and that old fridge they kept for 60 years. And the rug they kept over the lounge to protect it. We're given that to the Salvos. You know, I haven't mowed the lawn for 30 years. A, it doesn't turn me on. B, it's a bad use of my time. C, I could pay someone less to do it than the aggravation of me doing it. And I'm typical. I am typical. I'm a wealthy, affluent baby boomer. And I will pay anybody to take a problem away. And I'm an excellent buyer. And you might have to work a little bit harder to sell to me, but I'll stay longer and spend more. Who's the baby boomers in the room? That's how you buy. You don't want to be sold. You want a cocktail party story. Oh, I saw this ad in the newspaper by this guy that was out there with Tony Robbins. I went along to his seminar. That's what you want. You want a cocktail story. You don't want to go along to your friends and say, I went to this seminar and got got sold a whole pile of stuff, do you? No. You don't. So, here's what changed. In 1987, the shape, here we are, 1987. So if we could go back a couple of thousand years, this is births and deaths, how long you live. In 1987, it changed in shape. In other words, it wasn't all just infants anymore. My father was one of 13. I'm one of 6. My daughter's 31 and she still hasn't had kids. Anyone want a baby wear business? I don't think so. Well, you can still make money. But is it your first choice of business to be in? Maybe not. My son's just had 2 children at 28, 29 and 30. You know, 2 kids. My dad's one of 13. I'm one of 6. We're more likely to spend money. Much more likely. So something changed in the shape of the triangle, because here's where we are moving towards. Most of the population is now 49 to 60 to 70. And they're the highest earning, highest spending, most cashed up group in the history of mankind. Who thinks it might be a good idea to find out what they need and give it to them? It's a sensational idea. It's selling to people with money and with problems they want taken away. Down here, of course, this is the baby boomer moving through their life cycle. Okay? There. That's the baby boomer moving. This is the baby boomer moved, 1931, through their life cycle. So you want to know what they're going to buy and spend their money on, don't you? Because timing's everything. Anyone want to buy a carburettor business off me? It's going real cheap. I don't think so. How about Final Record Company? They're making a comeback, aren't they? Point being, something changed. Anyone know what it is? 1987 it was. It kicked in 1987. It's called the pill. We had a choice. First time in history. What was it, 1965 or something? The pill came out. So it altered birth rates forever. And that means it's based on demand. It's what you and I do. Government controls 17% to 19% of gross national spending. The rest of it is what? You and me. You and me. They aren't controlling this. We are. Harvey Norman just found out, didn't he? Hey? He tried to get selling online and taxed. Found out real fast who's in control. You are, more than ever. So this has changed the shape of sales forever. And it's changing all the time. So, it's market first and product and service last. So the who and the what business you're in are the 2 biggest decisions. Who you sell to, well, what business you choose to be in, 80% of your success, and that should be driven by the who. The problem you solve for the market. Not that you make a good lasagna, you idiot, and you'll open a restaurant. Not that you like fluffy toys, so you'll open a pet shop. Not because you were a hairdresser working for an idiot and you decided to become one and open up your own hairdressing salon. That's not a valid reason in our world. Okay? I'm a mechanic. I'm working for a mechanic. Here's a tosser. So I'll become a tosser myself and open my own mechanic shop. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is not valid. It's a totally flawed premise for getting in business, and that's how most people get into business, by accident. And then they become accidents that are always going to happen. True or true? True. I don't want you doing it that way. I don't want you doing it that way. I want you to be far more what? Strategic. So then you can be tactical about it. how would you like to get rid of 80% of marketing problems in one go? 80%. Thank you. Stop dealing with people who don't want or need what you have. But a client right now who doesn't like being told her baby is ugly. That usually gets alarmed. Because all babies are ugly. But most often you get so attached to your baby, the business, that you can't take reality. And you hate to be told it's ugly. Don't we? Remember my wife who fell in love with her business? It nearly cost me a fortune and I got it back for nothing. Sorry, I had to sell it and get rid of it because she got sick. All my advice fell on deaf ears because she fell in love with it. What did she do? You cannot afford to fall in love with it in the manner that she did. I want you to be passionate about it. I want you to blur the line. But it must have a practical reason for the expectancy of success. Is this starting to fall into place, folks? I feel like I'm talking to myself up there. Are you starting to understand me, how it all comes together? Okay. So the selection is based on this criteria, not that you make a lasagna. And your mother says it's the greatest lasagna recipe. You'll build the restaurant and you'll go broke. Talk to, educate, inform and advise people who want what you already have or what you can create that they want. So this client right now who's hearing from us that her baby is ugly is fighting us. She doesn't want to know what the market has told her. Her bias and opinions are keeping her from a pile of money because we know how to fix it. Okay? But she's in love with the idea and she doesn't want to hear that she's not right about it. Does that make sense? I can't afford that to be you. Because the marketplace decides, not you. Every time I think I know what the marketplace wants, I'm wrong and I'm savvy. I'm wrong. So guess what I do? I ask you. Who saw our survey? I filled out our survey for this event. Show me. Anybody filled out the survey? A few people. That was us finding out what you wanted so we could give it to you. Never want to figure you out. I'll get it wrong. Every time. That's how we do it. We ask you what you want and then we give it to you. Who thinks that's a really good idea? Can't lose. Can't lose. So, this is sarcastic. We go to a restaurant tonight and I go and I say to the waiter, look, I had steak last night. I'd really like to have vegetarian. What do you recommend? And he said, you know, I recommend the rump steak. I said, oh, you couldn't have heard me. I said, I had steak last night. I really want vegetarian tonight. Yeah, I know, I heard you, but you know, the rump steak is really good. I recommend the rump steak. Well, how do you think this conversation went, folks? Not real good. Basically, that's what life is like when you're selling to the wrong market. It's get out of my face. And mostly, you're selling to the wrong market. Because you're a pest, Brett. And it's get out of my face, isn't it, mate? Yeah. Who's having some ahas? Yeah. So that's why you must switch to guest, not pest. And we'll show you how to do that. The whole point of this is the who, the target market, is much, much more important than your what. But most people come from the what, and you're very skillful at it. And there's a sense that they should just queue up and buy. Stop it. Not going to happen. Niche. I haven't got time for this, but the riches are in the niches. So largely, I want you to be in a niche, or providing solutions to a niche. A niche that's an inch wide but a mile deep. Let me describe this briefly. That's health and beauty. How big is the niche? Could we name them? Never. Not in a country fit. How about cellulite? How big is that on the niche of health and beauty for women? Massive? So it's an inch wide, but it's a mile deep.
I wouldn't tell us that.
Sorry? We're amongst friends now, aren't we? I had told no virgin jokes for the first half a day. Right? I say? Be insane. No, don't do it. Nicole Kidman's got it. Can you see that shot on the front page of Women's Day or whatever it was, Women's Weekly? Come on. I had a woman yell out, "What bitch hasn't got it?" A woman yelled it out. Laugh, guys, it was a joke. So it seems cellulite's a major problem. Okay, it's on the healthy beauty niche, which is massive. But most of you are an inch deep and a mile wide. Brett. Now, for every reason, the riches are in the niches. So if we had a beauty salon, we would concentrate on where the money is. So the question we'd ask ourselves is, where is the money in that? And we would be brilliant at the thing where the money is. And we might upsell or cross-sell the other stuff. Okay? Because the guys that are trying to do everything to everybody, their message is lost. In a world of clutter today, 5,000 pieces of marketing per day, clutter and noise, you need to stand out. If you're trying to be everything to everybody, can you possibly stand out? No, it's impossible. It's impossible. So, but as soon as you say, embarrassed by active cellulite, that's me. Use mood lighting at night time. Don't walk past the mirror. Turn the light, don't wear the little black dress. True or true? True. Can I enter that conversation? Yes. I don't live with her. You do. Point being, I enter the conversation she's having with herself. She goes to bed thinking about it and wakes up worried about it. And that's what you want to be doing. Selling to people who already know they want what you have or what you can provide. And it's not what you have, it's what they want. That's just one example. This could be what? Making money, couldn't it? How big is that niche? Could we name it? No, not in a fit. How big is real estate on this niche? Well, it's massive as well, isn't it? There's so many ways to make money in real estate. How big, right now, is how to renovate your house? Hey? Yeah, it's an inch wide, but what? A mile deep. Because the baby boomers and those folk, they're not trading up or whatever it is, or trading down, they're renovating the property right now, aren't they? That's what's happening. It's a phenomenon. Because of the economic conditions. Because they can't get what their house is worth. Okay? So having a renovation product, there's an explosion of renovation products right now. And on TV. Is it on TV? Yeah, that's why. It's based on you. What you do. That's why. So if you figure out what they do or what they're going to do, who thinks they can go to where the money is? Yeah. It's all based on age-driven spending, early retirees and two-income couples. The highest spending group for the lot is gays and lesbians. Right? Highest spending of the lot. What? Two income. Dinks, 2 income, no kids. Skins, spend the kids' inheritance now. Lombards, a lot of money, the bloody idiots. There's some more in there somewhere. Kims, 2 income, no kids. Dinks, double income, no kids. Is that right? There's a couple of more, I can't remember them. But you get my drift. It's all based on these groups of people. So, the riches are in the niches for a couple of reasons. One, we can enter the conversation, and it's cheaper. 2, the message is clearer based on their wants and desires and needs. And 3, you can charge more. Because you're a specialist and an expert and authority in a category or a niche or a geographical area. That's how money moves. Money moves to the educator, the advisor, the expert, the specialist. Does it not? Yes, it does. Big fish, small pond. That's who you want to be. Not the opposite. Most people are a little fish in a big pond. Flawed model. You will struggle until you figure that out. So, it's a losing economic model to sell to the masses. You can't win catering to the majority. You cannot win. I am breaking all the rules, guys. I should not be selling to the masses. I wish I'd taken Greg's niche, the beauty supplements. Okay? That's what I should have done. But I've created my own category. That's my niche. I'm also the purveyor of this information in a way that no one else purveys it. Okay, so I've created my own category. That's too hard. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay? The more you can define them, the better. That's the market. If you can't define them, you won't be able to find them. Critical. Critical. Absolutely critical. Define your ideal client prospect based on who they are, what they do, and what they buy. You haven't got time for it. So, the biggest target market is your prospect who has purchased something similar before, either from you or someone else. So if they've had a cellulite treatment, there's a damn good chance they'll try another one. If they've bought a piece of exercise equipment, there's a damn good chance you'll see another one out the front of their street when the rubbish collection comes in. You know, they make those things to last 5 uses because you don't use them 5 times. They break after 5 times. They've figured us out. They have the handles pointing up so you can put your clothes on to dry. And they make them fold up to go into a cupboard or under your bed so you don't see it. Because you might walk past it and say, "You fat bastard, I'm going to send that thing back." They don't want the refund. That's what they know about you and me. They've figured us out, haven't they? I've got a piece of Ian's exercise equipment at my place right now that he never used, that I haven't used. Describe them and picture them perfectly. Yes, you need to. Describe your target market and picture them perfectly. Sell bikes to people who already ride a bike. Okay, the best source is someone that's already bought something on the subject. The marketer's in the room. Have you bought a lot of products from a lot of people? Have you?
Yep.
Yeah, of course you have. Well, one solution. You're looking for lots. Poor people think they already bought and won't buy again. Poor people think they already bought and won't buy again. I don't know what I'm trying to say, I've got no idea. You just want them to switch to you or buy from you too. I don't know, Jason and I must have got in front. Who was the best prospect for business school? You guys are. Someone who's already come to an event. Same story. Someone who has already been to a live business seminar before is the best prospect to come to a seminar. Okay, that's how it works for us. Because not everybody wants to go to a seminar, do they? Okay? So if you've been to one before, who hasn't been to a live seminar before in this room? There you go. Proves the point, doesn't it? Why don't you have to spend time and energy convincing them to buy? Because they're already educated. Okay, you guys are already educated, so to speak, if we take this environment. Buying a book is radically different from coming to a seminar. So buying a book in a bookstore on a subject is radically different from you giving up 2 days of your life. Here's how you evaluate doing anything. Low money, low time. Low money, low time. So, if this event, or an event I was running, was $195 but 16 days, who would like to come? Yeah, thank you. I'm also running another event. It's 2 hours and it's $5,000. Who wants to come? I will get some. Yeah. Okay? They make a decision to do business with you or not based on low money, low time. So if you're an educator and you're not trying to sell them something, who thinks that's low money? And you're 89 of the top 100 websites responsible for billions of dollars worth of sales start with free. The free line has been moved forever and it's never going back. What you used to be able to charge for, you can no longer charge for. The game has changed. Do you understand that? So the free line has been moved for all of us. And you need to understand, you need to be an educator and educate for free to start with. So who's been to one of my free seminars in the past? Where for half a day or 3 hours we give you our best stuff. True or true? We paid for everything. And did we feed you? Probably. Because I know that when I get a client, it's not to make a sale, it's to get a client. Get the distinction. I make a sale to get a client, you make a sale to make a profit. Does everyone get it? If you don't have back-end products, you're not running a business, you're running a promotion. And that means you've got to promote it over and over and over again, and that's costly. I think Matt and Liz said 8 times more expensive to get a client, a new client, than it is to get a client coming back. Is that the figure you used? There's a few different variations. I've seen nothing under 5. So if it's 5 times dearer to get a client the first time than it is to get a client coming back, why don't you have a system for keeping them and selling them more products? Makes no sense. You should never be in a business that doesn't have a back end. That's not your ass. It's back end products. So you need a front end and a back end to your business. A front end lead generation system that breaks even or makes you money at best. And you should dance in the street naked if you have one. It's called a lead generation system. That's predictable, reliable, and slightly profitable or negative. I go negative to get you in the room based on my mathematics. So the psychology is you come into the room, I give you my best stuff, a certain number of you are going to continue your education with us. I can't lose. But I spend money, and so do 89 of the best websites, most profitable websites on the planet, spend money to get you the first time. But you don't give it away for free. Who gives stuff away for free in the room? Very few. You're going to have to move this line, guys. It's going to happen without you. You know, my daughter spins the wheel. She also treats them as an audience. That's critical in retail. You need to treat them as an audience, entertain and involve them. If you've been to the States lately, you'll know there's whole shopping centres where they do that. Okay, it's happening. I haven't really got time for this either, but it's two types of target markets and two types of businesses. Primary and secondary, yes. Do you want to grab a microphone, please? I actually happen to have one. I shouldn't really do this, but here we go. Can you try that for me, please?
Hello. What I wanted to say was, on the previous point where you said you offer, say, something for, come to my seminar for free, but people know you or people know about you, so they think it's worth their while to go to you for free. But say, for instance, I offer it for free, will people come?
We know how to make you an expert and authority, even if you're not. And then you live into it. You understand? It's not who you are, it's who you need to become, based on the market. If you know and understand that the marketplace chooses to do business with you or not, based on you being seen in your category as an expert, authority, celebrity or not, what does that mean you have to become? That person. If you would write a book or have someone write it for you on the subject, you're already in the top 5% of the planet. If you would educate instead of sell, you're also in the top 5%. If you would take to your feet and stand in front of a room, I know a cosmetic surgeon in the States that does seminars on the big mistakes people make when having cosmetic surgery, and he sells anywhere between $500 and $1 million worth of surgery at the back of the room, running seminars. Do you think he's seen as an expert and authority? Do you? Yeah. One of the other ways is the reported findings. That's the chiropractor examining your spine, taking an x-ray, and he says, next time you make love to your wife, your spine's going to drop out. Do you reckon you might come in and you think he might have a straight face when he says you need to come to me 10 times a week for the next 3 months? It's going to cost you $6,000. These guys used to charge $50 for a visit and say goodbye. But suddenly they've got a report of findings. You need a report of findings. It's the white ant guy knocking on your door with a can of white ants. And you think you're going to take their services. Do you think he's an expert now? Yeah. Because it comes from being a diagnoser of problems and provider of solutions. So you diagnose and then prescribe. So my cellulite ad offered a free report that revealed the big mistakes women make when treating their cellulite and how to avoid them. My headline on the website was the only thing I changed. That Peter Godfrey wrote the whole website. I just changed the headline. Here's my headline. Revolutionary treatment from France seems to melt cellulite and fat away for almost every woman that uses it. I won't ask you to put your hands up, ladies, but I bet you if I asked, a few of you would like that report. You might be hot and heavy and ready to buy a solution, but who would like the report? Immediately I switched to education and report. What have I made you? Sorry? Yes. I have interested the uninterested. I've changed the maths. No, I'll be a one-shop salesperson in today's newspaper, hoping a buyer is ready to buy. Who in this room would like to buy, or who in this room is thinking of buying some exercise equipment in the next 3 months? Please put your hand up, you fat bastard. Come on, show it. Show it. It's not only me. Who thinks they need to exercise more and are in the market for an exercise equipment? I'll rephrase the question. I just got 3% of the room. 3% of the room is in the market for anything right now. It's called the buying cycle. Read today's newspaper and you'll find some idiot in there flogging exercise equipment for 30% off. That's smart, isn't it? I'll be a commodity. That's my first reaction, is to cut price. And someone will always do it what? Cheaper. Cheaper. But hang on a minute. There's one thing you can do every day that would see you avoid the risk of you having cancer by 70%. Factual, and I can show you the scientific data. And that one thing is aerobic exercise for 30 minutes per day or more. Who would now like or be interested in some exercise equipment, please? Show the room. I just told you, 70%, reduce your risk by 70% of getting all cancers. 30 minutes per day. This is a fact. That's called what? Product data. So I would be running ads revealing the product data, and then I'd deliver an argument to buy my exercise equipment. Does that make sense? Does it? What's everyone else in today's newspaper, on today's TV, hoping to do? Sorry? No, run into a buyer. Run into 3% of people that are hot and heavy today. They're idiots. I just proved it to you. 3% of the market is ready to buy anything. Who wants to buy furniture in the next 3 months? Show me. 3% of the room. Who wants to buy a car next 3 months? 3% of the room. Who wants to buy a car in the next 12 months? 10% of the room. 7 to 10% of the room. On every single frigging product we do it to. And the idiots are out there selling to the 3%. It's insane. But they're not here. The biggest advantage you ever want is economic. And by switching to education, it's economic. Does anyone doubt it anymore? Just proved it to the whole room. Who's interested in real estate in the next month? Buy an investment property. Show me. Great. Nice and hot. Show me, please. Thank you. Bit more than 3%. Who would like a copy of the official consumer guide to investing in the new economy, which reveals to investors, property investors, how to do that better? And it comes with a bigger bait that I wrote the title for, and then my client went and wrote the content, because you want bigger baits. And the title is How to Safely Buy 7 Properties in 7 Years and Retire Early with Financial Security and Freedom. Who would like a copy of that? Watch the room, please. You can't have it. My apologies. If you send me an email, I'll ask Steve to send it to you. Okay? Is this mine to give away? No, it's my client's. Is that okay? Send us an email, I'll send it to Steve Gillespie. Steve Gillespie's claim to authority is that he sold an insurance company twice with my coaching for help, only some of it. But more importantly, he took me for a fish and chips in Mount Hawthorn in an upmarket fish and chip shop 2 years ago. I've been coaching Steve off and on since 1996. He sent me to Steel Blue Boots to fix them. A bunch of footy players woke up one day and said, I know what we'll do. We'll build a factory that makes work boots. We don't know shit about selling them. A couple of $1 million in investors later, what do you reckon business was like? Crap. So Steve takes me for fish and chips. He sells his insurance company twice. And he says, Mel, I've bought a couple of properties, Jen and I. And the guy who builds them, the developer, said, if I refer a buyer who buys a referral, a friend, he'll give me 20 to 25 grand. Steve's next question was, Mel, can you turn that into a business for me? Well, for 50 grand I created this and pretty much all of it. It's paid a lot more than that. That's the ad. It offers the official, the only official guide, consumer guide, to investing in the new economy. Who made it the only official guide? That's not a trick question, ladies and gentlemen. Correct. It's poetry, isn't it? And nothing happens on that ad by accident. In a minute I'm going to show it to you up there. We're going to probably stay a bit later tonight, fellas. Who thinks it might be worth it? Okay? There's going to be something go off in your head like, I need to go to sleep, or I need to go to bed, or there's somewhere better I can do. I would argue, turn that thought off. Because this might be the only time you see me again. Who knows? That's not braggadocio, it's just a fact. Out of the gate, what did I make Steve, young lady? The authority and the expert before he was. People ring him up and say, Steve, would you hold me a property, please? Who would like to have their clients say that to them? Yeah. It's called being the authority. Could you grab that for me? Thank you. I might have trouble, I wouldn't have any trouble getting down there, but getting back up might be a problem. So who would like one of them representing their business? Who would like that going out to your prospects or clients? Okay. This is my best ever work. It's what? It's a game changer. More about that shortly. We've done lots of them now. I don't know how I got onto it. Yes, I do. It was your question there. Very good one. Give her a hand, please. What is that? Is it God's love one? Thank you very much. Can everyone have one? Okay. Primary and secondary. There's primary and secondary markets, that's clients. There's primary and secondary products. And there's primary and secondary businesses, in a sense. So the question we ask ourselves in that business is, and this is the one you must ask forever from now on, is where is the money in that? Where is the money in that? A lot of people have a lot of gross and not too much net. Do you understand me? You work your butt off all week, but there's not too much net at the end of the day. You understand? We don't want that to be you. Focus on your primary group as your bread and butter. So they come in for cellulite, and then we sell them continuity on cellulite for life. You have the 10 treatments, it's 3 to 4 grand, and then you come back every month at 197. The love of my life right now, she's done the $1,000, $1,500 face thing. I didn't see there was anything wrong with her face. And now she goes back every month for $200 to $300 for the maintenance program. When do you sell the maintenance program? They got it wrong. They sold it to her afterwards. It should have been bundled into the sale. Too hard to get her hot and heavy. Okay? So, pick the low-hanging fruit before trying for the secondary market. What did Jim get right first? And where did he get it right? Wasn't it South Australia or something? And now where is it? And how many different types? Heaps. Big mistake. A lot of people make. One of the biggest issues is time, focus and energy. If you're focused on a lot of markets and a lot of products, what happens to your focus and energy? It does, because it has to come, it sucks up an inordinate amount of energy. Focus on primary groups or primary business until you have a strong system. Then and only then go after the secondary markets. Okay? My industrial cafe, I haven't got time for that. Street Smart Business School, we have primary markets and secondary markets. We could take this anywhere in the world today, this sophistication. Okay? The information you learned today that I shared on money at a discount, giving away part of the profit, that your best product is money to sell, the opportunity to make money. I've been in front of Tony Robinses and the Jay Abrahams and the Chet Holmes, and I've asked, not them, but questions of their people who have interviewed me. And later on, I got my chance to interview them, if you like. And I said to them, have you ever heard this knowledge conveyed the way I've conveyed it to you today? What do you think they said? No, not this bit. Not this thing I figured out at 22. Opportunity to make money. Nothing will come close or drive more money to you faster. So I'd figure out, if I were you, how to make that part of what you do. So we have primary and secondary markets, we have primary and secondary products. We're prolific and sophisticated today. Not flawless, but we're hard to match. If we can't fix it, you're in deep shit. Okay? It's just a fact. You're in deep trouble. You need two completely different marketing plans and systems for primary and secondary products. You can't use the same one. Everybody has everybody on their list, 18 to 40. Have a look at this. Who in the room is 20 to 30, please? Put your hand up. Nice and high. Ooh, we need some youngies these days. Who in the room is 30 to 40, please? Nice and high. Thank you. Who in the room is 40 to 50? That's us. Who's 50 to 60? Okay, so there's the market, guys. My market is essentially somewhere between 40 and probably 60. Would you agree? Yeah. And you're perfect for us. And we're probably perfect for you. Okay? The young ones are in, the kids are, of course, much smarter than us, aren't they? My daughter is bloody smart. She's so informed, unfortunately. If you ask her, she'll tell you she's a better marketer than me. That's another thing about it, isn't it? The problem is she hasn't made $1 million for herself yet, and she hasn't made anybody else $1 million. Interesting. Exercise. Find your prime, no time for that. Nothing comes close to the herd. That's your number one asset today is your herd. That is your clients and your reputation with them. That's number one. It's the most valuable thing you can have. A list of clients. So Liz and Matt shared the fish and chip shop story. Do you want to hear mine?
Yeah.
Some guys called Steve and Mike from Sweet Lips Fish and Chip Shop 7, 8, 10 years ago. Mike had come to a seminar, and we're in Leederville in Western Australia. Who knows Sweet Lips? Anyone in the room? Okay. What happened was Kalis Brothers, who owned their own fishing boats, decided to buy a hardware store 100 metres away and knock it down and put a fish and chip restaurant and selling wholesale fish or fish to the public out of that shop, 100 metres away from Mike and Steve. They had a liability or a challenge. That's what made them ring me. Don't wait for the challenge, please. Ring me or dig the well before you need it. So they were motivated by that. Their promise is a bone in the fish and it's free. That's a unique promise. You've never seen that before in a fish and chip shop. No, that's interesting. So I range them down, not up. Most people add more product. That makes you more clunky. My daughter won't add a thing to that bar they make the pizza on, unless it's absolutely necessary, because she knows that makes it clunkier. So whatever happens to that has to fight for its position, because she asks herself where's the money in that, and will that help me sell it to my ultimate buyer? Okay, or it doesn't go on the makeup bench. Makeup bench. Probably the terminology I'm looking for. So I range them down. I package their products. I McDonald's them. Because if you let them choose and make up the rules, that will make you clunky. So you need a title for every single product you have, or package products together. And guide them by the hand, and they will buy the package. You know, McDonald's dinner meal is what? Something they make every day that they package up and call it a bloody dinner meal. You could have walked in and bought it, but I bet you their sales have gone up since they called it a dinner meal or something like that. True or true?
True.
So packaging is critical. You need to be a packaging expert. Combining products together, because they buy the offer. So, that's one of the things we did. The next thing I did is I said, I want you to survey your clients. So then I responded to their survey and took out all the products they didn't know. And then I asked them to make a list of everything they sell for 2 weeks. And then with a sharp blade, I deleted all the things they thought they needed that didn't make them money. Who thinks that's a smart idea? They had cobbler in this rack, fresh cobbler. And they thought they needed it. You know why? One guy bought it every week, once to twice a week. What do you reckon happened when I cut the cobbler out?
He bought something else.
Correct, Graham. Oh, good, mate. That's what they did. The guy bought something else. No, we've got to have cobbler metal. Bullshit. You want a clunky business? Do you want something that you can duplicate? So here it is. They bought it doing, I joined them doing $8 grand a week. They've now franchised, including Fremantle Boat Harbour, and opened up a franchise in Singapore, and I haven't spoken to them for about 3 years. And they averaged $23,000 a week after I finished. While Kalis opened, am I right? Are Kalis there? Are they 5 times the size or 10 times the size? Gone from $8 grand to 23 grand. You know why? We're marketers. I said, Mike, I want to gather your list of clients. So he gave away $100 worth of fish and chips to enter the competition to win $100 worth of fish and chips. I mean, what did that cost him? 3/5 of you know what. 1,500 people put their name in to win the fish and chips. You know, Matt, Liz, join our database. No, incentivise. Watch it grow. 1 month, 1,500. Including emails. Every time my daughter sends an email out to the list she gets, that night they come in. That night. Same for mine. Never less than 30% response to an email or a text message. 90% of text messages are opened within 1 minute. Nothing comes close to it. Nothing. Find a way to use it. Now that's in spite of, like, the biggest competitor on the planet opening within 3 feet of you. See how it works, guys? Took an ordinary commodity and turned it into an extraordinary business. Okay? Best thing that ever happened to them was what? Correct, Kayla says, I would argue me. Build, develop and nurture a herd of customers who are repeatedly responsive to your message or messages. It's a big secret to wealth. It's a herd that knows you for something. Question number 1, how much time do you devote to building the herd? What happens for Steve Gillespie every time he runs an ad for that?
His response.
He builds the herd, including non-buyers claim. And can he market them for life until they buy? Yes. So my marketing doesn't last the day it's in the paper. It lasts for months, for life. So Steve's building this massive herd of people, and some of them are ready to buy immediately, and others are ready to buy over time. That's how it works. It's called life cycle of a buying client. The question is, where do you enter the life cycle? I enter it before you're interested. Oh, incredible. And change the maths and market to you for life. Here's the question. How much resource do you devote? Literally none. How much money are you willing to invest to get the herd? That's all we do. We build the herd. You know, at the Trump event, don't tell them, but you know, I would have broken even. I didn't need to make a profit. Who thinks, from the Trump people, you're going to spend some more money with me? Please show the room. Nice and high. Who thinks you're going to spend more money? Yeah. So I can afford to go negative or break even. I don't even have to make a profit. How much are you willing to invest to build the herd? Steve Gillespie pays for these to go out, and he runs the ad. He goes negative, but not for long. Now don't feel too sorry for it, because he averages 7 to 8 properties a month at 20 to 30 grand profit, gross profit. Who thinks that's a good gig? And he's doing it in one newspaper right now. Who would like the system for Brisbane? You should. Who would like it for Melbourne? Who would like it for, I don't know, somewhere else in the country? Primary, secondary markets. Don't reinvent the wheel. Would you pay him for that? To shortcut the process? Yeah. Would you also pay him a small royalty on everything you sell? Of course you would. How much are you willing to pay to build a client list? So, yeah, find ways to spend more. I've got to move on. Biggest mistake? Not having a herd or a method of capturing the herd. I taught it to a fish and chip shop. You can't. You haven't got an excuse. Doesn't exist. Of course, the worst thing you do is not do anything with the list. Not doing anything with it. Where's our domino friends in the room? Do you get the name and address of your clients? Pardon? Thank you. What do you do with it? What sort of direct marketing do you send out? Oh, hang on, sorry. You, from the last 3 months, you what?
What we do, we select the customer from the last 3 months, which is customer did not order any product through the portal. We select that list, we send it out as in a brochure.
You send them a
Yeah.
what?
A special offer for
Special
those
offer.
customers.
Okay. Who in the room has bought a Domino's pizza in their life? Who in the room has received a personally addressed direct mail from Domino's? Don't look at me, look at them. Literally no one. You suck at it. It's not his fault. The company is macro. They're not micro. If you would try and compete with Domino's at Domino's level, could you afford to run their ads? Do they buy it cheaper than you will ever buy it, as long as your bump points to the ground? Can you afford the copying and the whatever's in the letterbox? Not trick question, come on. No, no chance. But could you micro? Yes. Could you send them an SMS, which costs a jack? Could you send SMS? Big loud book.
No,
Do you send emails?
no.
Why don't they do it? Can you tell them?
We don't collect an email IDs. We only collect
Their
the
email.
address and phone numbers.
Well, that's because strategically and tactically they never got you to do it, and the system doesn't support it. But do you know why they don't do it? Because they're so ingrained in the model of commodity, cheap pizza, and running it on TV and putting that crap in your letterbox. What do most of you do with that Domino's crap in your letterbox? In the bin. But mindlessly they do it, right? Because one, they have a bias against a different model because they're so ingrained in the old model. You understand? You've met it, haven't you? You've met it in the environment. Something brought you here. You're looking for a different model, true or true?
Yes.
Right. So they won't do it. Who's bought from Harvey Norman? Did Harvey Norman get your name and address?
Yes.
What did he do with it? No, I'll whinge about the internet instead. I'll get your name and address, I'll do jack with it, and I even know what you bought. And I'll treat you like a new client every time, which is 8 to 10 times dearer to do. If you would try and compete with them, you'll get your ass kicked. But you can micromanage. You can kick their ass. How good are they on the internet? Generally bad. That's why you can take a commodity and take it online, not touch it, have it drop ship, and make a fortune every month. Because the person that makes that thing and sells that thing doesn't know how to market. True or true? Did you understand where I went with that? Did you? Thank you for the coffee. Your most valuable asset is your customer or client and your reputation and what you're known for. So guess who said, I'm the guru of this first? Don't tell anybody. The world will take you at your appraisal. And I just showed you how to do it without being the expert. Did it make sense to you? Yeah. And the world takes you at your appraisal. So appraise yourself the expert. By the way, it's not real hard to be the expert. And everyone's looking for an expert to plug the umbilical cord into. So be the expert. That's how money moves. Your marketing system. You must have a system for acquiring, selling to, keeping, extracting maximum value from your herd. Otherwise, you're at the mercy of the buyer's system for buying or not. What have we created for Steve and these guys? That. It's never been more important to gather the herd because your method of getting and keeping them is dearer, harder, and being censored by the idiot regulators. As I speak, they're plotting to stop you from communicating with your clients. Who thinks the internet will look like this in a month's time? No, it won't. They're plotting your downfall as I speak. The greatest opportunity for business owners and sales professionals I've ever seen in my lifetime is selling to the affluent. Okay, are you a dumb criminal and how dumb are you? Well, what I mean there is my partner at the back of the room there, Ian Marsh, was robbed several times by a criminal about a year ago. He came back because Ian hadn't even had a chance to repair the window or put a security system in the place. While this guy was robbing Ian's mansion and taking his wife's jewellery and thousands of dollars worth of stuff, another robber was robbing pizza bars and delis in Perth. And he got dubbed the tradesman robber because he used a hammer or a chisel or whatever. He was caught, and they also caught the guy that was robbing Ian's with his girlfriend in the back of the car with all the gear, living out of the back of the car. The criminal that was robbing delis of 50, 60 bucks or 100 bucks, being confronted on one occasion with an Asian guy with a machete and attempted to be grabbed by a client on several occasions that were in the store, was a dumb criminal. Wasn't he? His days were always going to be numbered. However, this other guy was robbing Ian's mansion. And Ian had replaced all the gear the second time he came back. And Ian said to me, "Oh Mel, this is really great. I got robbed. I got all this new gear." I said, "Ian, don't get used to it. They're coming back." True or true, Ian?
Very true, Mel. That's why I bought a bloody big German Shepherd.
I know, you fixed it, haven't you? Mate, I won't go anywhere near that dog. I don't walk outside of his house anymore. This thing scares the crap out of me. So no criminal's going to come near his joint now. He's fixed it. That's called pain to pleasure. Are you a dumb criminal, and how dumb are you? Are you robbing delis? Trying to get rich? I don't know. Hopefully that impressed you. 2 reasons to transform your business. You don't transform your business to market to wealthy affluent. Ignorance and laziness, or both. They're the 2 reasons. Not selecting the who and the wealthy affluent is absolute stupidity. 3 things you must know if you want to stop robbing convenience stores when you should be robbing mansions. Why you should transform your business, B2B to market to the wealthy. So you need a why. It's because that's where the money is. They'll spend more and come back more often. How big the opportunity is. That's how much they will spend. Guess who's buying Steve's investment properties? Predominantly baby boomers. Predominantly baby boomers. Who they are and why they're different. You need to understand them to sell to them. You need to understand how they buy and why they buy. What's required to successfully sell to them and the keys to success. Well, here's the big one. They don't want to be sold. They hate to be sold. They want to come to the conclusion that they discovered you. Do you think they found Steve's ad in the paper? And do you think they tell their friends about discovering Steve? Do you? Or do you think they tell the story about going to the real estate pages and finding someone flogging houses. Which story do you think they tell?
First one.
Yeah, correct. Correct. So what's required? So you need to educate, advise, and be a consultant of change for someone that solves their problems. So there is a conversion of demographic trends right now that is controlling the movement in money in ways we've never seen before. You need a new understanding of how much money is moving and who and what and where and why that money is moving. It's the wealthy affluent. 2/3 of the middle class are moving up, 1/3 are moving down. Creating middle class millionaires, the fastest growing demographic. In this country right now, 28.8 millionaires are created every day. We are 3rd behind China and India. How many thousand is that a year? Is it 10,000 or something? What is it? I've forgotten the maths. But I've got a cutout from the newspaper that published it. It's government data. 28.8 a day. The affluent baby boomers had peaking discretionary income and more money than any other group in the history of mankind. Baby boomers' parents departing the planet is the biggest transfer of wealth. WA alone is going to be $33 billion worth of real estate will be transferred to the baby boomer. Is it 13 trillion in the States? And we are selling them and buying a Winnebago for 600 grand and saying it's the best thing we ever did.
Selling Winnebago's a great year at the moment.
Yeah, it is. They had a guy on TV on one of those Today Tonight things that sells them, and he'd sold 8 by February a year ago, for the year. 10 years ago, you couldn't have given one away. If you go online now and search for the dearest Winnebago, you're going to find $1.5 million Winnebago. Why does a $1.5 billion Winnebago exist? No one's buying it. And they're describing it as the best thing they ever did. Sold the house, don't have to mow the lawns, driving around the country. Age-driven spending. You want to be in a racing car or a jalopy, my friends?
Racing car.
Racing car jalopy. All right. Can someone say that for me? Trends of baby boomers and seniors who are willing to spend money in a bigger way than prior generations. And they're spending on things like luxury goods, travel, anti-aging and investments. I'll give you another list, but I want you to make your own, really. Cut this out of the paper. Super rich getting richer. There it is there. Children to inherit property bonanza. Perth residents stand to inherit $33 billion in property over the next 15 years as parents and grandparents die in what is shaping as the biggest intergenerational transfer of wealth in the history of mankind. They're going to have a shitload of money to spend, and you need to give them a reason to spend it with you, I think. Don't you agree? Absolutely. Why wouldn't you sell to the wealthy affluent? Or attempt to, given these statistics? Are you a dumb criminal? And how dumb are you? Every previous generation downsized, hit 60 and squirreled it away and gave it to their kids. Died broke. Last check to the Undertaker bounces. Remember? Love it. Spend the kids' inheritance now. When? Now. So our parents have saved for that thing and we're going to flog it and buy a Winnebago. That's what's going to happen. Babies, yeah, diaper. Most affluent demographic, gays and lesbians. There's a casino called the Paris Casino. It's not widely advertised. It only markets for gays and lesbians in Las Vegas. And it's the highest netting casino in the whole of Las Vegas. I don't know. Think about it. To prosper in less prosperous times, the very best thing you can do is move to where the money already is. Very best thing you can do. So, we don't... Does Steve's marketing say the single mother with 5 kids to 4 different fathers can't get the free stuff? No. We don't discriminate. We don't play God. But do you reckon when she reads it, she quickly dismisses herself? Client selection is 80% of your problems. She's not in a position to be a client. But she makes that conclusion with our marketing. That happens without who? Us. We want her to come to that conclusion so we don't talk to her. Because she'll suck up an inordinate amount of profit. Just like a lousy client. Does that make sense? But we don't play God. The situation might change. Least and last affected, where buying decisions are less likely to be made on price. 30% more difficult to attract, sell to and service, but spend 300% more. So that's the affluent. Least and last affected when buying decisions are less likely to be made on price. In other words, they make decision less on price, the wealthy affluent. They're harder to sell to, but when you sell to them, they'll spend 300% more. So you need a great marketing system that lets them think they discovered you. 22% of US households have 55% of all earned income. Who would you rather sell to? Who would you want to sell to if you're in the States?
22%.
Correct. Yes. And mobile phones are affecting my underwear. Over half the spending power is controlled by 1 in 5 households. What do you want, guys? 1 in 5 or 4 in 5? You'd want to go where the money is. The affluent client is a better client, but is also more demanding. Okay, this is their behaviour. Okay? You'll pay, but you're demanding. Focusing on the affluent gets you to your economic goals faster because it multiplies the zeros. It is not incrementally harder to sell a $500,000 investment property, which is what this does, or to sell the second largest software program for managing your money that's the second largest next to mine. This is like $200. That's $500,000. You've got to be as good as this to sell the cheap thing. So which one would you prefer to sell? It's an interesting question. It has several answers. One, that product has forced continuity attached. So when you buy it, you pay for it for life. So we can make an argument, can't we? So when you buy it, you're buying it for life. Steve's got you for a massive profit on one property for 400 or 500. So that has not so much repeat business, it has transaction value. What does it have?
Transaction value.
Transaction value. So again, there's lots of ways to skin a cat. There's not one way to skin a cat. So we look at the whole model and figure out how we can spend more to make more, because there's two things controlling this, and only two, and they are psychology. So the psychology in there is the official consumer guide, how to buy 7 properties in 7 years, retire independently wealthy. That's the psychology of you. And the other thing is maths. It's psychology and mathematics. What we can afford to do based on our profit level. In this case, in the MYOB type case, it's continuity. You buy it for life. In Steve's case, it's transaction value. In your case, it's repeat clients. Because you don't have a system for keep getting coming back properly. My daughter's case, it's repeat clients. I'll show you her marketing system. You can invest more to get them when you multiply the zeros. So we can spend more than our competitor. My daughter can micromanage her pizza bar and spend more than you. Do you understand that? She's selling a pizza for 16 to 25 bucks. Which one would you rather sell? A $5 or $6 pizza or a 16 to $25 pizza? Which one would you rather sell? Would you rather have volume or would you rather have profit, lower volume? Yeah, you should. But there's lots of ways to skin a cat. I'm not saying that one's wrong, but it's not our model. It's not our preferred model, because I've got to work hard for the money, and so does some franchisees. Most business owners believe that one customer is as good as the other, and that is so wrong. So client selection, absolutely important. Every single time I break my own rules, and I do, I regret it. Every single time I take on a client my intuition tells me not to, I pay the price. Do you understand that?
Yep.
Who's experienced that? Yeah. Marketing to the affluent gives you stronger, more valuable, sustainable business. Client selection. When you sell to the wealthy affluent, you encounter a better selling environment. Do you know why? People don't try and sell to wealthy people. We all try and sell to the bottom of the barrel. I get offered less stuff. People apologise for bothering me. Doesn't figure, does it? But it's true. More people are marketing to the poorer people. So why not market to the rich people who have the money and the wealthy affluent? Man, come on, where's all these slides coming from? Less competition. Most people are trying to sell to the ones at the bottom, not the ones at the top. Less price sensitive. You can spend more to get them because the total customer value over their lifetime is much, much higher. They are more loyal. They stick to you as glue, like glue, as long as you don't screw it up. So they'll stay with you as long as you don't screw it up. How many goes will my daughter give you at 31 years of age? If you stuff it once, you're dead. If you like half stuff it, she's gone. True or true? Because she won't stay around. Gives you one shot at it. One shot. So these guys are better. Better source of referral. When you get them, they refer better customers or clients to you more often. Because they hang out with people like what? Like them. Who's come here via referral in the room? Being told some good things. Nice and high so we can see. Thank you. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? And you're the best prospect we can get. Why change? Because there's a demographic group or subgroup that has all the money, or most of it, and it's where the growth is in the economy. They haven't got any less, in a sense. And if you know how to give them value, far in excess of the value they expect, they'll throw money at you. How are they different? What are they buying and why? They're buying things they're passionate about. That's one of the things they're buying. There you go. I had one of those when I was a kid. Guess how much they cost today? A couple of hundred, minimum. How about a GT Phase, was it 2 or whatever? Phase 3? 3 to 500 grand. One got stolen in Brisbane, made the papers in Perth. You know, someone broke into their garage in the middle of the night. They got it back. I read a couple of days later. It was 500 grand. That's the baby boomer. That's a Charger, if you don't know. Valiant Charger. Hey, Charger. It was all about getting laid, guys. That was it. So we are reliving our childhood. Can you imagine paying? That's $200,000 or $300,000. That's a what do you call it? 42. What is it?
B49.
And 39, 49, 42.
49.
Yeah. So there you go. They buy experience, and expertise. So Dan Kennedy told this story, I'll tell you. He goes to Disneyland and he's walking around and he sees a girl, and as he approached her, she bounced a ball towards him. What happens when someone bounces a ball towards you? You've got no choice, have you? Instant involvement and treated like an audience. And Dan's got a couple of grandkids, and what does he say? How much is the ball? The big ball's $350 for a ball. But the point is, they have 3 different sizes. The next size now, if my memory serves me well, is like $150. And the next smallest ball, with pictures of all the Disney stars on them, that has a lifetime guarantee against breaking, no matter what the kids do to it, is like $80. Why do you think the $350 ball exists? To sell the cheaper ones. Yeah. Can you imagine buying a $350 ball? Well, guess what? That's why they created it. It's called a marketing selling system. Dan stood there and he reckons 4 out of 5 bought one of the expensive balls. So they created it to sell the cheaper ones, but they bought more of the smaller balls. Dan bought 1 big one and 3 medium and whatever it was. Okay? It exists, but can you imagine a $350 ball? He asked the girl how many she sells. I can't remember, but it's phenomenal. It's like she does 30 grand's worth of balls a day. Guess how many people there were standing around throwing balls at you? Lots. I don't know the number. So if you've got something working somewhere, who thinks that's a neat idea from Disneyland? Who's been to Disneyland? You must go just for the marketing education. It's spectacular. $1 million dog. Pets are the new kids to the baby boomer. Smudge is my 4-legged girlfriend. Don't tell her. She thinks she's my girlfriend. She really does. But have a look at this. Here's what you get. Here's what the $4 million dog gets. Gourmet bedtime biscuits. Ice cream social party. A busy bone, a chew bone, a stuffed toy, a pool party, a limo ride around town or to McDonald's. This is a dog being looked after. What do you call it when they go kennel? Yeah, this is no kennel. This is $1 million dog. a bark in the park. Dog gets taken around the park. Room service and Hyde Park heaven. A pee-pee pad, brushing, speaker bone call, don't know what that is, I haven't got time to read it. Vacation photos. The dog's on vacation. And by the way, it has a video camera where you can tap in and see your dog while you're away on holiday. Grooming service. That's for cats. Now, I can't remember what it cost, but it cost a fortune. It's $1 million dog. Why is this happening?
There's some crazy people out there.
Well, you know, my terminology for it is dumb money. I'll show you some more. They're buying recognition and reinforcement of who they are. Never have any trouble. You'll never have any trouble selling a penthouse to them. Okay? They buy based on 5 emotions. No one. This is the owner of Lamborghini said this. No one drives a Lamborghini to work. You buy a Lamborghini for status. That's why you buy a Lamborghini. That bag is $27,700. That tie is $250,000 US. Why do they exist? Dumb money. They are pressed for time, eager for efficiency, confidence, convenience, and will pay anything for it. They worry about lost time, power, status, and security. They seek, that's very important. They worry about lost time, the clock is ticking, power, their status in the community, and security. They seek approval, recognition, and respect. Don't disrespect us. Marketing of values is much more powerful than the marketing of a product or service to them, than the fact that you deliver. This is a take-home, what do you call those things? Is it a Ferris wheel? That you can set up in your backyard. This company's been making them for 100 years. But that one you can buy for home. They made it to go in a garage and on the back of a truck. And now look at this. It's seat 16, maximum passengers per seat 3, maximum load 48, weight 500 pounds, and load 8,116. That's where I found it, the Eldridge company, Eldridge. The ground space required for it, height is 67 feet. The length is 61, and the width is 40 feet. It weighs 22,000 pounds. And people are putting them in their backyards. I know, only in America. That's the power requirement. That's more than like half your street to drive that sucker. It's dumb money. That phone is 3.2 million. Do you think they bought it to make a call? No. They bought it for status. Don't lose it though. That one's 167,400. Most people, rich and poor, spend dumb money on something. I spend copious amounts of money. I'm pretty zen. Pretty damn boring, really. But I do spend any amount of money on my education. Staying in front of a cat. Being as good as I can possibly do. I endlessly buy this stuff. Matt, I'm like you. Matt's been the first one in the back of the room on everything. Okay? I'm prolific when it comes to spending dumb money. But if I just get one thing, I'm happy. One thing. Small hinges swing big doors for me. Understand that? At least a fire alarm will save somebody's life, the vacuum cleaner will keep the house clean, and the pots and pans will save you money and see you eat more nutritionally. So you can justify spending that money. This is just sheer dumb money. That part is $45,000 for a set of 14, gold plated. There is all this money going around, but there's all these people tight about it. So the money is there anyway, folks. It's all based on the idea that money is hard to replace. You want to be selling to the affluent. That's what it boils down to. Oh man, they want to be respected and honoured for their level of success and their achievement. Who's like that? Remember, the worst I felt was when I didn't do anything for 12 months. I got lost. They are successful because of their professionalism and competence, and they apply to their work and they seek it in others. They will react strongly to any attempt to deceive them, and they will take their business elsewhere straight away. Straight away. They define value on their own terms, and you cannot impose your values on them. Okay? The good news, they can afford and are willing to pay for the best. They can afford and they're willing to pay for the best. They experience daily tensions and hassles in their working life, and they want to be free from that, from people who will sell them, who sell them things. So they seek solutions to their business problems, and they're happy to pay for it and exchange money for time and speed and accuracy. Okay? Who falls into that category? Yeah. You know that saying, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day? You know that one? Teach a man to fish, you feed him for life? It's bullshit. It was true once, but it's not true anymore. You just want the fish cut up in bite-sized pieces delivered to you on a silver platter, true or true? Yes. And you're prepared to pay for it, provided you pay fair and deliver it. Okay? That's a fact. They hate and despise people that do business with, but buy from them anyway. They hate and despise people they do business with, but buy from them anyway. That's interesting. Think about it. We whinge and moan and complain about the people we buy from, but we do it anyway. True or true? Aren't we a weird bunch? Aren't we a weird bunch?